John Adams joining us now. John Adams running for Attorney General. He is the overwhelming favorite to be the Republican nominee for Attorney General. Only other one person in that race, Chuck Smith. I've got Smith at 150 to 1. So kind of like off the charts. Adams is going to win with about 82%. If I put Sammy the Cat on the ballot, Sammy would get 18%, just how people are. But John Adams is going to be the nominee for Attorney General on the Republican side, 2017. Hey, John, good to have you with us.
John, it is always good to be with you. Lots going on.
Okay, so your friend, Mark Herring, that you're going to be running against in 2017 in November, joining this lawsuit, saying that the Trump administration, has no right, no authority to determine who comes into the country. Yet, if you look back in history, the first president to actually sign a immigration ban of everybody, Calvin Coolidge, in 1925. What's the deal? I'm sorry, 1927.
I can tell you what the deal is, John. I think the number is probably 3. Do you know what 3 is?
No.
3 is the number of lawsuits he's going to file against Donald Trump in an election year between now and November.
Why 3?
It's a guess. He's going to look. The political motivation behind this lawsuit is pretty clear. You hit the nail on the head. We did a post on this. The Constitution affords an incredible amount of authority to the President of the United States to protect the borders of our country for obvious reasons, right? It's a complicated thing to continue to allow people who want to come to America and become a part of the country and make us better, to allow that to happen, but to keep the people out who wish to do us harm. And so the Constitution gives quite a bit of authority to the president. So the first thing he's got to do is get in the lawsuit. He's got a motion filed right now to intervene in the lawsuit of 2 brothers who have already sued. So we'll just see. Well, I think we'll find out on Friday if Virginia the legal term is given standing to enter the suit. I think it's not an easy question. I think the judge in the case, Judge Brinkema, is likely to grant standing. But look, this is an election year, and you're going to see a lot of this. And I have to tell you, John, my favorite part of this, and I got phone calls from a bunch of my fellow lawyers about it, was when Mark Herring held this big press conference to announce that he was going to join this lawsuit, and then at the end said, because we have a motion pending, we can't take any questions. And there was a lot of jokes going around on email about what rule allows a lawyer to do a press conference about a case but not take questions about a case. So,
look, it really felt to me, and I know that some of what Mark Herring has done, I've talked to him, he's changed some of his positions, which he has a right to do. He says he's evolved, gay marriage and things like that, and I accept that. And normally I think he's doing what he believes in. I really thought this lawsuit that he filed was for purely political purposes. I mean, the President of the United States has a right to do exactly what President Trump did. Now, you might want to quarrel with the implementation and say that, somebody didn't get a cracker for 5 hours and they only got bottled water and it was too warm or whatever they're complaining about, detained. But it's hard to argue the legality of what the president did based on historical precedent, right?
Yeah, that's right. And I actually want to go back to something you said, John, and I appreciate what you said. You said, you've talked to Mark Herring and his positions have evolved, and he's a human being, he's allowed to have his positions evolve. That's entirely true.
Yes.
But here's the problem, right? We didn't elect him super representative. We elected him attorney general. Mm-hmm. It's fine if his views on gay marriage evolved over time. But the problem is, it's not his views that matter. Mm-hmm. It's the law of the Commonwealth of Virginia. Mm-hmm. And so what we've got now, and this is why I'm running, John. You've heard me talk about this. The idea that the Attorney General can simply decide what laws the Attorney General feels like are right is just wrong. And we saw that with Sally Yates this week. It's been a busy week, John. Mm-hmm. We saw it with Sally Yates. President Trump had no choice. That you cannot have an Attorney General say, well, look, my law department said, yeah, you're allowed to do this. It's legal. I'm your lawyer, but I just don't know if it's a good idea, so I'm not going to. I'm going to tell everyone not to enforce it. That is the breakdown of the rule of law.
Right.
If Sally Yates had a true moral problem or she believed it was unconstitutional, even though her department had said it was, that's fine. Simply resign. You just go. This is what lawyers do. When your client does something you think is wrong and you can't stop and you think is unconstitutional, you simply say, I can't represent you anymore. You don't hold a press conference and make a huge show out of saying, I'm going to tell the department not to enforce your law. It's just this grandstanding is really harmful for the country. And Sally Yates is a smart lady. She knew what she was doing, and it's destabilizing and it's inappropriate to handle that situation in that way.
Okay, so it looks like Jeff Sessions is going to get approved the next several days. He got through the Senate Judiciary Committee. He takes over. What happens?
Well, first of all, they put Dana Bente, the U.S. attorney from our region. The Eastern District of Virginia is now the acting attorney general. Mm-hmm. Dana's been in that office for a long time. I served in the U.S. attorney's office with Dana. Very, very good guy. He'll come in and they'll start to fill out the sort of level 1 or 2 beneath the attorney general. Mm-hmm. And as you know, John, from your experience in any organization, that's really where the work gets done.
Right.
And so there's a lot of people who I know who are waiting to hear if they're going to fill those positions. Some really good people, and then I think what you're going to see from a Trump Justice Department, I'm very hopeful, is a return to law, order, common sense, application of law to facts. Lawyers shouldn't be in the press as much as they are nowadays. It's just not. The policymakers should be up there making the decisions, and lawyers should be faithfully executing the laws. And I think that's what you're going to see in the Justice Department.
If John Adams is Attorney General, name a couple of things that you are going to do differently than Attorney General Mark Herring 2018 beyond.
Well, sure. The first thing I'm going to do is I am going to enforce the laws that the citizens of Virginia pass. The people of Virginia have a right to govern themselves the way they see fit. And once they go through that incredible process of self-governance and passing a law that the governor signs, they deserve to have their attorney general defend their law. That's the role the attorney general plays. And that's what I'll do. And I know that sounds minor, but that's a big deal. The second thing I'm going to do is, and I said this when we thought Hillary Clinton was going to be president, and I'll say it now, Virginia's sovereignty needs to be defended, and sometimes the federal government overreaches. And when the federal government overreaches, as they did in the last administration with the Clean Power Plan, it's the duty of the Attorney General to defend Virginia's sovereignty. I am hopeful that with a conservative Department of Justice, that's not going to happen in the Trump administration like it did rampantly in the Obama administration. But if it does, I'll defend Virginia's sovereignty. And the last thing, John, is people don't realize this is a real job, right? The Attorney General's office is, over 200 lawyers defending and representing the Commonwealth of Virginia every day. I've spent my life as a lawyer dedicated to the Constitution. We are going to have the best Attorney General's office at doing this stuff. This stuff isn't sexy on the campaign trail, but we're actually going to do our job. We're going to represent Virginia. We're going to be the best Attorney General's office in the country. And I'm a limited government conservative. I don't think government should do much, but what it is supposed to do, it should do well. And I think we're going to help Virginia do that.
John, let's get to the November election. You're going to be the nominee. I got to tell you, I had Ben Tribbett on the other day, a very well-known Democratic operative and consultant in Virginia, and he rambled through a set of numbers on a spreadsheet detailing the percentage swing between when a new president comes in and the opposition party has a governor's election the following cycle. And the numbers were shocking, okay? And then I asked him to send me the detail on it, which he did. And you look at the historical evidence in Virginia, and you say to yourself, my goodness gracious, if any of this is even remotely the same, there's no way Republicans are going to win in 2017 because you have an average swing since 1985 of an average swing of 17 going from the party that won the presidency to the opposition governor. And if you take the fact that Clinton won Virginia by 5 and then you add on 17, I mean, it's a landslide. How do you guys win based on that historical evidence?
Well, John, I think the first thing I'll say, and I think you will appreciate this, is if I listened to people who told me the odds that I could win something before I made a decision whether to jump into a race, I would never have gotten into the Attorney General's race in the first place. Right?
Well, one of those people was me, because I told you you couldn't beat Rob Bell.
You did.
Yes.
John, I'll just have you know, we shared on my first radio interview ever. Right. And so look, I don't worry too much about sort of past historical trends. First of all, I'm going to talk about my race, because we actually remember, if you go back and look at some of the trends in Virginia, some of those years where Democrats won or where Republicans won and a Democrat governor was elected, a Republican attorney general was elected.
That's true.
That happens in Virginia. I got to think about my race, and I got to tell you, running against Mark Herring's record is a wonderful place to be. He is, even people who say Virginia is blue, when you look at Mark Herring's record, it is so activist, so liberal, so politicized. I've got a great record to run against, and I think that's going to benefit me a great deal. We have, John, I appreciate what you said. I still have to earn the nomination. You know that. But we are already running essentially 2 races. We're still working hard to earn the nomination, but we're running also a general election race. We're spending time raising money. We've hired another full-time staff person just to focus in Northern Virginia, and that's how we're going to win this thing. And it's incumbent on me to get out there, meet as many people as I can, stay engaged. We've already engaged directly with Herring on a number of things: right to work, the executive order, the 20-week abortion bill that's pending. So we're engaging, and we feel good about it.
All right. Well, you've got some time. You are the overwhelming favorite to be the nominee, and we look forward to your campaign. I mean, I have to say this: your staff and yourself is everywhere. I don't think there's any event that I've been at that your people haven't been at that event handing your stuff out. So you have a very engaged, very active campaign, and we appreciate that. And John Adams, we look forward to seeing you on the campaign trail.
I need to get one plug in real quick.
Go ahead.
The Supreme Court nominee is just unbelievably good. And for so many of us, that was a big part of the election. And Judge Gorsuch, I actually know him. Judge Gorsuch and I clerked for the same U.S. Court of Appeals judge, Judge Santel. And this is a fine, fine man and a very keen intellect. And this is huge, and he is going to be confirmed.
What about your relationship with him struck you the most?
When you meet people who are as powerfully intelligent as he is, they are often not the guy you want to have a beer with, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. Sometimes people that are that smart, they can be a little socially awkward. This guy hunts, fishes, skis. As you saw at the ceremony, he's a gentleman. I think the American people are going to rally around him. I think the Democratic senators who are in states that Trump carried, where a large percentage of people were voting for Trump because of the Supreme Court, there's no way the Democrats keep Judge Gorsuch off the Supreme Court.
All right, that's going to be the final word. I want to thank John Adams for being with us, running for Attorney General. John, people want more info on your campaign. Where, my friend, do they go?
Yeah, please go to johnadamsforva.com. That's the website. That'll get you to the Facebook page, which has the same handle. Please like us. Please share with your friends. Please follow us on Twitter. I was on Fox yesterday. I was on CNN yesterday. There's some good video up talking about Judge Gorsuch. So we're out there fighting the good fight. John, God bless you, and you all have a wonderful day.
All right. John Adams, you want more info, go to johnadamsforva.com.